How much do software engineers at the FAANG companies get paid? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Most people think they get paid like around 100K a year, but that is false. In reality, they get paid a lot more. Today I'm here with David, my friend, who's working at one of these FAANG companies, and he's gonna reveal to you the salaries and all the different compensation structures for the FAANG companies. What's up, David?
What's up, y'all? I'm David. I've been working in tech for about 6 months full-time. As of 2020, when we're filming this, new grad software engineers at top tech companies make somewhere around 150 to 200 or so total compensation.
$1,000.
$1,000 total compensation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Starting salary.
But, well, it's not all salary. That's why it's a little complicated, and I'll explain that later. It also depends on where you live, what company you're at, and all that jazz, but broad strokes, because Hafu wants me to clickbait this, yes, that's around how much they make.
That's the truth.
Yeah. So if you want to actually look at how much different engineers make at different companies at what levels, there's a really handy website called levels.fyi that you can go to. So how top tech company compensation usually works is it's made up of a bunch of different components, which is why I think people are confused about how much software engineers really make. The components are base salary, which is the easiest to understand, which is usually around 100K for new grads, and that's why I think people think that software engineers make around that much. So base salary is just the cash that you get in your paycheck, usually bi-weekly or monthly. And this is typically something around like 110 to 120K at these top companies. The other major component is stock. At top tech companies, a significant portion of your compensation is going to be stock grants, or RSUs as they're called. At public companies, you usually get the stock and you can just sell it. So you can almost treat it as cash. The caveat with stock is that it can go up or down depending on the company's performance. So it's a way for the company to make you invested in the success of the company itself. Because if you kill it at your job, you make the company really good, then your stock that you got is gonna be worth more when it finally vests out. How it usually works is you get some amount that you get when you join the company, and this amount vests over 4 years.
What does vesting mean?
So vesting means you just get it. Like, let's say I get 100K worth of stock. Over 4 years, I'll receive some amount of this, and the exact schedule, again, depends on your company.
From what I heard, rumors, not to be taken as career advice, Amazon vesting schedule is like 5% in the first year, 15 in the second year, and then it's like 40 and 40, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's very backloaded. And there are other companies that do this, like Microsoft is 3.5 years of vesting, whereas I think there are startups that do like 5 or 6 year vesting for your stock.
Wow.
But
so they really try to get you to stay at the company.
So those are the two main components, salary and stock. The other components are your bonus, and there's usually two bonuses that are at play here. So there's signing bonuses. At a lot of companies, when you sign your contract to join the company, they'll give you a bonus of $10,000 to $100,000. And this is paid one time, and you have to return this if you leave within the year. So this is kind of a way just to force you to, well, it has two purposes. Like, one of it is to force you to stay at the company for at least a year. And the other one is to kind of incentivize you to leave your current company. Like, this signing bonus can cover like any unvested stock you have in your old company, or it's to incentivize you to like change up your life a little bit to go to a new company. And then the last thing is your performance-based or year-end bonus or whatever. This bonus is usually paid out as a percentage of your base salary, and it's also usually based off your performance or the company's performance. So for example, at Google, I know that the new grad bonus multiplier is you get 15% of whatever your base salary is for like a baseline performance. And this will increase as you get higher in levels. And this is paid out every single year, so that you can add this to your total compensation as well.
Is it hard to get these performance bonuses?
There are companies that won't even give you a bonus unless you're extremely good. But there are also companies that will just give you a bonus even for just meeting requirements and not getting fired, essentially. So the answer is it depends. It depends on where you are, it depends on your org, it depends on your team. If your company is one that does bonuses though, they tend to be not that hard to get. The reason why tech compensation is a little bit confusing for people is that your total compensation is not just your base salary plus your stock. You have to add all of these things together and kind of amortize it by 4 years. And there's a lot of different ways you can think about how it works.
So, I'm studying business, so I like talking about money, thinking about money, learning about money, and learning about the salaries. And I watched a tech lead video about this topic, and he said the salaries differ a lot from city to city. Even if it's just the same companies such as Facebook, Amazon, but in different cities, the pay can vary a lot and a lot. Is that true?
This is kind of a matter of company again. Not every company is the same. I know for Facebook, they pay the exact same for all three major engineering offices in North America, regardless of whether you're in Seattle, New York, or in the Bay Area. Whereas there are other companies like Amazon where they vary pretty heavily depending on whether you're in a higher cost of living area or a lower cost of living area. So for example, in Seattle, the base salary of Amazon is actually capped at $160,000, whereas if you go to New York or the Bay Area, it's capped at $185,000.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so there is a difference depending on where you are. Although from what I've seen, usually it's the base salary that gets adjusted and your stocks usually don't.
Like usually it only varies by like 10 or 20,000.
Yes, it's not a huge swing. It wouldn't be like a double or anything insane like that.
So I know for the companies, they have different levels for when you get hired. So how does pay differ depending on the level you are?
So your level will determine your how much you get paid, both in stock and bonus, and pretty much all these buckets that I talked about earlier. On levels.fyi, you can actually see the level. So for example, if you look at the Google tab, it will say like L3 or something like that. L3 is the lowest level. It's the new grad level. But as you increase in level, you can see how the pay just dramatically rises on pretty much every single aspect. And typically when you work at one of these companies, and let's say you join as a new grad, when you get promoted, you'll usually get the base hike. So you'll get the increase to the next level of base, but you won't get the stock because stock is typically only a new hire thing. But it's still a pretty significant bump. So for example, if you look at from L3 to L4, it's usually around like a 40,000 base salary increase just for one promotion. Yeah.
Well, then the logical question is, how hard is it to get a promotion? How long would it usually take in order to increase a level?
I know I keep saying this, it's probably annoying, but it depends a lot on your company. Every company has different things, like philosophies on when they promote, how conservative they are, how aggressive they are. There are companies known to promote fairly slowly and be fairly conservative. So for example, Google is one of the slowest promoting companies. And then there are also companies that promote fairly quickly and they're okay with even promoting a new grad to senior engineer. So for example, Facebook tends to promote a lot faster. So it really just depends on that. And as for the question of how hard it is, it's definitely not easy to get a promotion, especially into the 5 levels. So if you look at 5 at Google, 5 at Facebook, I think it's like 6 at Amazon. They're roughly equivalent. I think it's like 62 at Microsoft. All these are like around when you start being considered a senior engineer. And the bar for senior engineer at these companies is pretty high. So to get to that level, it's definitely not easy. You'd have to be a pretty strong engineer. Average time to get to 5 at like most companies is at least 3 years, even like at the fastest.
Is it based on your performance?
It's based off your performance, but not even just your performance. So the way promotions work at companies like this is that they're trailing. So you have to already be at the next level consistently for a long period of time before they're comfortable promoting you.
Wow.
So even if you're killing it currently, if you're not showing that you're good enough to be the next level, because they're kind of orthogonal, being good at your current job and being good at the next level. If you're not showing that you're good enough to be at the next level, then they won't promote you. If you want to look up salary information on any company, there's a couple resources. Levels.fyi is the most accurate one. If your company's not represented on there, you can go to Glassdoor and search for whatever role, whatever level, whatever company, and whatever location. Or you can go on paysa.com, like pay and then sa.com. Paysa tends to be really like over-reported, like it's too high, and Glassdoor tends to be too low. So I guess if you average the two of them, maybe you'll get roughly the accurate amount.
What advice would you give to my audience who are smart, driven, but are about to graduate college and about to enter the real world?
So advice I would give is kind of counter to what a lot of people will say. A lot of people always go like rah, rah, follow your passions, save the world, do something amazing, all these things that like feel really motivational and hype you up. But what I think actually is that the vast majority of things in this world are not that amazing. Like you don't have to follow your passions. You don't have to absolutely love what you do. I think it's totally fine to say I'm motivated by I want to be comfortable. I want to provide for my family. I want to provide for my loved ones. So I want to take a job that has high compensation. And I don't think that you should let anyone guilt you about that because it's perfectly valid and a lot of my peers are doing the exact same thing. And I also think that you can be very, very successful at your job, even if that's your motivation. Because what tends to happen is that like even if money was your initial motivation for going into something, once you get into it and it becomes kind of your craft, then there's an inherent motivation to become better at your craft. You become like a better engineer, and it's really satisfying to see yourself get better and be financially rewarded for it.
That is actually very practical, and actually, I think it's very true as well. So if you actually want to see what a day in the life of a software engineer working at Fang, click right here to watch that video. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of these future videos. My name is Hafu. This is my buddy David. Just go for it.